Good evening, everyone. After the chaos of Detroit, we are live here at the blistering fast Thruxton circuit, Britain's fastest track for another white knuckle of chapter of the SimAbility V8 Season 17. I'm in the booth alongside with Tyler Newitt, who's doing the cameras. He's riding shotgun with me under commentary, and he's running everything behind the scenes to catch up with every fight, feint, and every photo finish moment. Welcome to the booth, Tyler.
Hello.
So, Thruxton, what a great circuit. Pure commitment, long flowing corners, savage tire wear, and actually no place to hide. If you miss a mark at church or you are too greedy at club chicane, this track will bite you and haunt you in your dreams. After Detroit street fighting mayhem, many will be desperately hoping for a clean fight tonight, but with the title picture tightening up, nobody can afford to lift a little bit. So currently, the top 5 of the championship leading into Thruxton, Simon Frendel, and right behind him, Eric Blix. I haven't seen him on track because I think he's on holiday, if I'm honest. Also, Chris Shaw still in the mix right there, and Rob Woodhouse, and right behind him, Michael Harley-Davidson. For the team championship, it is Team Chimera at the top, and now I lost my thingy. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong screen because it's so blurry, the other one. It's Team Chimera and NQR1 and Alcantech NHR at third position. So this is a really, really tight field we are looking at, and I am looking forward to tonight. So, with that being said, who is going to be our favorite for tonight, Tyler?
Well, normally the safe bet is Simon Trendle, but I was watching him practice, and he was making quite a few uncharacteristic of Simon mistakes. So, we've never raced here. I've never raced here in a V8 or in anything else, and the league has never raced here before. So, really tough to make a pick from anybody. So it's a cop out, I guess, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think that's a good shout. I think you can never rule out Simon, even though, as you rightfully pointed out, his car behavior seemed a little bit erratic in practice. Looking at the practice time, we actually have Bob Woodhouse on top with David J. Burns and Michael Harley-Davidson right behind him. I said that I haven't seen Eric Blix, but he's definitely up there in 4th position in practice. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've been here, we've visited this track on TCR, and it's always been really great. It's always been super tight. The racing's always been amazing because there's so many lines through the fast corners, fast to church, and definitely when you lift off, the car starts to slide, and you are forced to lift off even a little bit more, and then once you hit the grass, it's just spearing down into the left on the tire barrier, and there's no stopping that.
Yeah, the thing about the V8s. Oh, first, I do want to apologize because I did see Simon making a bunch of mistakes in practice, but I also saw literally everybody else making mistakes in practice because it's just not an easy track to wrap your head around, from what I can tell. We saw, as I said, a number of drivers making errors, and the fact of the matter is, with the V8 supercars, you want to brake in a straight line, as we see Simon attempting to, but the fact of the matter is there are no straight line braking zones on this track. So, he makes a mistake there. That's what we were saying. I mean, there's just these cars are so sensitive to pitch and roll that as soon as you carry a little too much speed or get on the brakes a little harder than you mean to, it can just throw the car completely out of balance, and that spells disaster. In qualifying, you can just bail out of it, but in the race, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and obviously you are the expert on the car behavior, because I shamefully have to admit I still haven't driven it once. I just bought it to do the broadcast. Another thing to point out, as we see Chris Shaw going through the chicane, you are able to cut so much of that corner. It's almost basically like you're straight lining it through. Well, that is definitely not straight lining it, but let's call it a drift king from Too Fast, Too Furious. Or is it the Fast and the Furious in Tokyo, or whatever it was? Anyway, back to my previous point, the last chicane, you're able to cut it down quite hard and quite massively, just like we see Tony Thruxton doing right there. But the line between overdoing that and nailing it is so thin. And if you are getting too close on the inside on the right-hand side, and you dip your right right front on the inside of the white line, then you get a slowdown, and I think we're gonna see a couple of those, and people trying to serve it and not trying to give in, and not willing to budge for not willing to give up their position. That is gonna cause some spectacle right there.
Yeah, one of the things you normally, that I find at least, that separates the quick guys from the really quick guys is just the really quick guys know exactly where the limits of the track are. And sometimes in iRacing especially, it's not the most intuitive. So you'll see the drivers running up front will definitely be taking the most liberties as far as exit curbing, curbs at the chicane and whatnot. There's a lot of time to be had in just consistently hitting exactly on the limit. So yeah, definitely, I'm sure we'll see some slowdowns because the margins are so fine. But yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out in the race.
Yeah, and you said, and this is me asking you as an expert of the car, or at least someone who drove the car more often than I did, the curbs here are quite flat, but you do get shoved up a little bit when you go over them. Is that something that impacts the car very, very much, or is it just a little bit of a nuisance?
It honestly it honestly depends from curb to curb, because anyone who watched the real life race at the Gold Coast last week knows that these cars handle the curbs just fine, if you know what you're doing. But there's sometimes that you hit the curb wrong, and as I was saying, it's so sensitive to pitch and roll that you can often find yourself spat out the wrong way. But a lot of times you need to take the curb in order to get the car to turn. That's one of the main things that I know the real life drivers use, and I try to use in the sim, is if there's a curb that'll help get the car to turn in because the inside wheels are off the ground, then sometimes you just got to use it and hope for the best.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like a kind of a gamble, I guess. You mentioned that the quick drivers know exactly where the limit is. I do think that a big difference between the super quick guys and the normal quick guys is that the super quick guys are so consistent in general, where they will be able to lap within a 0.1 of a second, where the quick guys, they fluctuate a little bit, and especially on a circuit like this, when it's all about confidence and keeping the car on the tarmac and trying to keep the grip where you expect it to be, you kind of see a lot of difference and a lot of margins over a longer stint.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just there's something that all the quick guys seem to be able to do, or the quickest guys seem to be able to do. As you kind of mentioned, there's no real slow drivers in this league, but the real quickest guys seem to be able to find that balance of consistent driving, and they do it through very different driving styles. I ride on board with Simon a lot when I'm trying to learn to track, because he's so smooth, so consistent, almost looks slow, like he's not pushing to throw the car around violently, but find the same amount of speed and consistency as someone like Simon.
It kind of feels like he's so much in control that it's annoying to watch, because that makes it look slow, because there's no wheel spin, and this is as you mentioned, you were checking it out in practice, and it looks less controlled than it normally would, but he's still currently right up in third position, and if looking at the qualification as we stand right now, it's still Michael Harley-Davidson on top of the pile, which is we saw him definitely grow into the season a little bit. I think on Phillip Island he was a little bit on the back foot, had a little bit of a rough race right there, but now seeing him on top is a great outing for him. And Eric Blitz following Simon Trendle in the championship, currently out qualifying him and giving him a good starter for the sprint race. And I think that is great that the championship is still alive, and you can definitely tell that depending on what track they are driving on, one or the other is quicker currently.
Yeah, it's good to have, the last few years we've had great battles between Simon and Kenzie. Kenzie obviously missed the second round, so we'll have to wait and see once the drop points are factored in where that all shakes out. But it does seem like it's going to be between Simon and Eric as far as the championship is concerned. But it certainly isn't a guarantee, and we were talking before we came on air about given how short this season is, the drop round really plays a big role in your overall points. And even though it looks like Simon's decently far ahead, he's actually really just a few points ahead of Eric, and a solid round from Eric could put him on top going into round 5 next time out. So it's really all still to play for, and there's with some chaos and some trouble for Simon and Eric, there's probably 5 or 6 drivers who could potentially play a factor in this. Looking at the Rob Woodhouse and David Burns and Kenzie, of course, and even Chris Shaw has been quick. So a number of drivers who could potentially factor in before it's over.
Yeah, and finding the wall here in the last sector coming up on the start-finish straight, is something we saw a lot. We saw that happen in TCR quite often. Then somebody missed the chicane, clipped the curb somehow, and then gets spat out to the left, hit the wall, and came back on track, which caused chaos and havoc. And as we, by rule of Pete, try to simulate and emulate the racing as much as we possibly can, there might even be a chance that there's going to be a safety car, and who knows what's going to pan out then. I do tend to try and not throw any safety cars or safeties or double yellows for the sprint race, because it's already so short, and with a safety car being on NASCAR rules or at least oval rules, it's gonna throw that race down into the gutter. So I hope that all the drivers are gonna be sensible when coming up on that first start finish straight for the first time.
Yeah, and we've already had one safety car this season at Watkins Glen, so wouldn't be out of the question for sure. We saw it at Detroit. Really, the only reason there wasn't a safety car was because everyone seemed to wreck individually in different corners. So there were certainly enough incidents that we could have seen one, but it just didn't play out that way. So for those new to the league, new to our kind of process and rules, we really only throw the safety car if there's a significant track blockage that unfairly impacts a good portion of the field. So individual incidents, even 4 or 5 car incidents, if everyone behind them is able to make it through, we usually keep going. But it's definitely a possibility, though. Thruxton quite a bit more runoff than a track like Detroit.
Yeah, and as you also we were talking about this in preview, like before the broadcast started, that the track has so much similarities with Sandown, and the only difference is that there's so much more runoff. And I can't remember that we ever had to throw a safety car for any class of any championship whatsoever on Sandown. So I'm hoping that we're not going to have to do this time around as well.
We definitely have had to throw a safety car at Sandown because
oh, did we?
I did a no stop.
Okay.
I did a stop under safety car for that one, but no, it was track blocked in turn. I guess it would be turn 3 in Sandown, where you head onto the backstretch, it all tightens up. I think Kenzie sent it over the chicane and blocked the whole track. So definitely not out of the question. There's a spin for is that Daniel Solope, I think.
Well, yes, I do think that was Daniel Soto, and we're already on the 14.5 minute mark, which means that with a lap being 117-ish, is it 117? Am I right? 112. Very good. 112. That means that people that are at the back of the track might be able to still get the lap done, but currently it looks like Michael Harley-Davidson has this one in the pocket, with a massive amount of like 3/10 on this track is insanely big.
That's a huge margin. And not just on this track, as Simon jumps up to second place.
To second.
Yep. Still a good 10th.5 off, which in this league and at this track, that's substantial. So definitely interesting there to see the gaps.
It might be a one-lap wonder, everything clicking and just hitting the perfect sweet spot. So looking at the current standings and the current grid, so we have Michael Harley-Davidson. I think that is a first for him on pole position. Right behind him, Simon Trendo, current leader of the championship, with Bob Woodhouse behind him. David J. Burns on 4th position, and Eric Blix, the current second driver in the championship, is starting from the 5th position. Kenzie Newnhoff is quite far back, in my belief, looking at his capabilities, but I'm sure that he's going to try and move forward. Chris Shaw on 7th, and Stephen Walker for also on 8th, who's actually improving his skill. He started the season on the back foot, but he seems to get the car under control currently. Vincent Skillback 9th, and Anthony Woodward is on 10th. Fit Salomon starting from 11th, and Tony Klusterman starting 12th. 13th is Jamie Wilson, and Stephen Phillips starting from the 14th position. Daniel Soto 15th, and Rob Fenn ending the people that set a time was 16th. And Jeff Sanders, he did sign up for the race. I'm not sure if he is gonna grid, but
he's on the
still
grid.
He is out there. So he didn't set a fettered lap, or either he didn't qualify, but is 17th, and that is rounding up that grid. As we look on that great airfield strip, the old one, with all the hangars still there. I mean, for iRacing standards, they really tried to do the props this time.
Yeah, they've definitely, you know, the quality of the track scenery has certainly increased over the years since I started some 12 or 13 years ago. So,
well, let's talk about this later, but I'm going to mention something later on. Okay, so, well, the timer ticks over 2 minutes. It means that the nerves are building up, that the people are going to push their throttle and trying to get away as quickly as they possibly can. The lights are turning red. It's 1 red light, it's 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, and there is the 5th one. Are they going to hold it long? No, it's green, 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 and here we go. And I see a car from J.J. Burns sliding right. Simon is already alongside Michael Harley-Davidson, and he seems to get it done on the start. Very, very good second phase there by Simon, and that is an important move for his championship running. Right behind them, there's 4 wide from Chris Shaw, Vincent Skillback, and Ed Woodward. Jamie Wilson is losing a couple of positions, is still fighting with Fitz Salomon. It's shuffling. It's a little bump there. I think there was Kenzie hitting someone on the rear, or was Kenzie being hit by Chris Shaw. And it seemed that they got away quite quickly. It's 2 wide further back. That's David Solo with Stephen Walker, who had a stinker, started 8th, is now all the way back at 13th, losing 5 positions in just the first 3, 4, 5 corners.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Wobbly, there's so many different lines around this racetrack, so going 2 wide for 3 straight corners there. Now Stephen drops in behind Daniel and cedes that position, but he'll be right back on him for the final chicane there.
And even moving in on the right-hand side here, on the inside, and trying to get past them. There's still 4 lines to do it. Oh, that looked quite close, and my gut feeling says that is some slowdown for Steven, but maybe he's trying to bleed it off. Eric Blix has a slowdown, and also Vincent Skillback has a slowdown. And this is what we mentioned earlier. It's so tight going through that last chicane, and just so easily to get that slowdown. There's a spinner right there. That's Vincent Skillback, and he pulled it right. Somebody went all the way onto the right there. 1 small hit from a SimAbility car.
That's that's Eric Blixt who has damage, and that is really going to throw a wrench in this championship. And you know, we were talking about the impact of the slowdowns on this race. The only reason Eric was back there was because of his slowdown in the last chicane. So really showing right away what an impact it has.
And what a good of experts we are on the track and actually looking for predicting the future. So this is... Oh, that is a hit from Eric Blixt, I think? Was it?
It was Ant Woodward who got into Vince, just dove it in. It wasn't really room to make that happen. I'm not sure if Ant was struggling on the brakes or just made an ill-advised move there. But just another week that Vince gets collected in somebody's issue, I think.
This is a bit like... I remember a race we did on Sebring for the V8s, and it was one of the seasons where I turned up a couple of times for the old Gen 2 cars, and I got in a similar situation with Ant, where he sent it down on me on the same way. And,
yeah, I want to see on board with Ant here.
I don't think he tried to.
Oh, you can hear him locking up. Yeah,
yeah.
That was just a mistake on Ant's part, and Vince and Eric were the unfortunate bystanders there.
The good thing is that Vincent now still has his rear wing, which is, again, a rare occasion for him.
Yeah, we got a 3-car fight for the last spot on the podium here. Rob Woodhouse holding off a pair of Hydra Race cars in David Burns and Kenzie. Chris Shaw also not too far behind. Oh, and David's got to slow down here. He's going to let Kenzie through.
It's so hard when you're so close behind someone. There's just no way to see, and you're just gambling on the car in front of you, hoping that he's going to take the proper line. And if that car, for whatever reason, is a centimeter or two closer to the inside than you're expecting, it's so easy to take that slowdown. And as Rob Plan also has a slowdown currently.
Yeah, he's playing defense on Eric here. I think he's trying to serve the slowdown through the chicane there. And it looks like he did. He's burned it off. So that's good news for Rob. Bad news for Eric Blixt, who we were talking about in this short season how impactful one round can be on a championship battle, and this is not looking great for Eric here.
This is definitely one of the races where you hope that, looking at the position you have in the championship, you're able to keep up, or at least do a similar pace or similar end result as the leader of the championship. I'm a little bit fuzzy if Rob Woodhouse currently also has a slowdown, so that's going to be interesting because Kenzie's going to be all over him.
As Stephen Walker grabs another one there too.
I drove with Stephen in the TCR race 2 seasons back, so Kenzie getting past Rob Woodhouse. Finishing my previous sentence, I drove with Stephen, and he caught the slowdown about 7 times in one race, so he's definitely has a subscription on it.
As we see Jamie continuing to pressure Vitz Salomon here. He's
Michael. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say he's been on the back of him for about a lap now, really laying the pressure on hard here, but not been able to get through just yet.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. I was looking at the timing sheet and I saw Michael Harley-Davidson being within a 1/10 of a second of Simon Trendo all the way at the top of the field, and it looks like that one lap Michael produced was not an how do you say that?
I'm not sure, but we do have an off-track moment for Michael here, as he's been pressuring hard on Simon. Yeah, just ran a little wide there. Didn't hurt him too much.
So like when they changed the grounds a couple of seasons back, right? When it slowed down a little bit more, but you used to be able to. Oh, that is very late on the braking from Jamie, but it looks clean. A little bit of a shove there from a defense move from Vitz Salomon, but for me that was an absolute pinnacle of racing.
Yeah, that was a good attempt there. I mean, Jamie's as clean as they come, so you expect good racing here as he now falls under pressure from Stephen Phillips. And we had Eric and Tony both getting by Rob.
Ooh, Jamie Wood very wide there when you put in the replay, but we'll see it afterwards after this one. This is Rob Van Fitz-Salomon going through the last chicane, and that was where Rob picked up a slowdown again.
Yeah, and he ended up losing spots to both Eric and Tony here, as we've got another issue for Ant Woodward.
So Ant Woodward coming through, driving towards, just came out of Campbell. And now I think he just did the same thing as Jamie, went a little bit wide, then you left that, yeah. Back when the grass didn't used to slow you down that much, you could go through church flat out and you would gain time because it didn't give you a slowdown. Simon Trento got... Michael Harley-Davidson passed Simon Trento. We have a change for the lead.
Oh, yeah, we'll go back to that in just a second.
Oh, this is amazing. 3 cars trying to fight through one corner. It almost looked like the GP of Mexico, but I mean, these guys are putting it off and not cutting the corner.
Yeah, 3-car battle here. This is over 9th position between Daniel Solo, Stephen Phillips, and Stephen Walker, and they are really going at it here.
So what happened at the front? Do we know?
Yeah, let me find that pass.
I feel like looking at the time, you see that Simon made a mistake.
Certainly possible, although you would lose a lot of time just getting past here, I think. And yeah, just send it on the brakes into the last corner.
Oh,
and,
I almost looked like he didn't expect him.
I think that's just a matter of having to widen out your braking, and when you're already out of control when you're braking not in a straight line in these cars. So I think it was just a matter of Simon catching the slide there. I think he probably did know he was coming, but maybe not. It was a great move either way by Michael Harley-Davidson there.
Yeah, I'm going down the inside towards the last chicane. I mean, that is a bold move because the outside line is definitely quicker. You just sweep back in, make it as wide as possible so you can have a straight line through that chicane. The last time you were here with the TCRs, we went through that 3 wide, me, Steven, and Sam Blees, and it didn't end well. Well, for me it did end well, but not for Steven and Sam. And immediately you see that Michael has so much extra speed compared to the others. He's already 1.2 seconds ahead as Fitz-Salomon is trying to hold off Jamie Wilson. He's now on the left-hand side, and I think he got the move done. The run Jamie had was really, really good coming out of the Church corner. But now it took like Fit, but he had a little bit. They were both struggling to put the foot down. They just the grip is not there for them. Eric Blix currently on board with him, second in the championship, currently in the championship standings. 1 second behind Stephen Walker, who's now also fighting Stephen Phillips, and he is getting it done and dusted, I think, unless Stephen Phillips is able to pull out a blinder here on that exit, but Stephen is now cleanly past him on the inside and had the better grip coming out of the corner.
Yeah, just really great battles going on throughout the mid-pack here, and we've got a few drivers on recoveries. Steven obviously had that bad start, and Eric had the slowdown and got caught up in the incident with Ant and Vince. So a couple drivers making their way back through to where they started, but at the same time, lots of really great battles for the drivers who already were running in this midfield here.
And I wonder, small touch there on Stephen Walker from Eric Blix, and now, not Eric Blix, Stephen Phillips, and immediately Eric Blix is trying to capitalize on that, and now Stephen is defending, and now it's Stephen Phillips on the outside, Stephen Walker on the inside, Eric Blix blocking off the track, and that is cutting off the nose, and that was taking so much risk by Steven. Knowing Steven personally a little bit, I know he is just driving in anger there, that he got a little shove. Rob on the inside, get forced on the grass by Tony Klosterman. Usually, Tony is a pretty clean driver, but that seemed like shoulders out, elbows out, and now I'm going to take this position or defend this one, and this is my spot at the racing track now.
Yeah, Tony's never been afraid to close the door, and he did it on Rob there. But yeah, that little bump through the final corner between as Stephen Phillips goes wide there, the little bump through the final corner between the Stevens, really a gift to Eric Blixt, just 2 free spots and some clean air, and was able to hold off the follow-up attack from Stephen Walker, and starting to work his way back towards the front. He is now in position to capitalize on the reverse grid, which will definitely help. But with points being equal between the 2 races, you definitely want to maximize as much as you can in race number 1.
And we do have to mention it's 2.5 seconds between Simon Trendle and Michael Harley-Davidson. I wonder if he did something weird with the setup, as in being able to. He's just driving away, so like they're not there. But anyway, wondering if he did something with the setup that is just magical for that shorter races, and doesn't work for the feature race. Maybe we'll see his tires drop off later on when the race is a little bit longer, but. Currently, as it is, it's a magical performance by him. Kenzie knew enough.
Yeah.
Slow down
for Kenzie there. It certainly could be set up, but I think most of the times that you see gaps like that, it's just someone who really gels with the track. And I don't know if Michael's ever run here before, but sometimes you just show up and you're just really quick, and there's not much anyone can do about it. And it certainly seems like that's the case. I mean, if it were a you do start to see some fade in the tires towards the end of these sprint races, and we're seeing nothing. If anything, Michael's just opening up that gap over Simon. So I think it's just a driver who really clicked with the track this week.
Sometimes people turn up and it just flows. There's certain tracks where you probably have it as well. I have some of those tracks as well. For me, it's Phillip Island, for example. Like I turn up at Phillip Island. Doesn't matter which car, doesn't matter what time. I just click with it, and I also have that with oh my God, Indianapolis, not Indianapolis, no, Daytona. Jeez. With Daytona, it doesn't matter which car I'm driving in. I do 2 laps and I'm on pace, you know.
Yep. Yeah. For me, it's Mosport. I know that I can do no practice, show up at Mosport, and I'll be quick. So that's the one for me. I also know I'm usually going to be quick at Bathurst, but that is only because I've done several thousand laps there at this point. So,
I mean, Bathurst, I really thoroughly enjoy Bathurst, and I'm really quick on it. But I can give you a little bit of advice. If you ever, for whatever reason, think you're going to drive a TCR up there, and you think, oh, well, -4 wing is a great idea, don't, mate. You just ruin your tires. I mean, you're quick the first hour or so, but after that, it's just like driving on ice. I mean, I'm not talking about experience here, but I mean...
Well, it's interesting.
Dumb idea.
Well, it's interesting with these, the Gen 3 supercars, there is no wing adjustment. So that's one of those factors, you talk about maybe Michael Halfordson just clicked on the setup, but there's really not a lot of opportunity to play with that. If you're gonna get the setup right, it's gonna be all mechanical, and there's even with that, it's more about driver feel than it is outright grip. I have gone, honestly, in all the time that I've been driving the supercars, I've gone back and forth between liking a really soft car or a really stiff car. But either way, whatever feels better for you is going to end up with you being quick. Looks like we've had a disconnect for Rob Woodhouse. He's
seems like a
not
connection
showing up
issue.
on track right now.
That definitely wasn't a rage quit, so that must have been a connection issue. And welcome, by the way, to Chris Jackson. I think Collector, help me out here. I think it's... Oh, wait, I know this. Collector on chat. Wait. You are the Belgium guy. Chesney. You are Chesney, I think, right? I hope I got this right. Well, currently back to the action. Chris Shaw, David Burns, and also right behind, in front of him is Rob Woodhouse.
Yeah,
they are in a fight. Oh, I'm right, by the way. It's Chesney. I got it.
so Rob has reappeared on track, which is good news, but definitely a little concerning for the two drivers behind him that he just popped back into existence a few seconds ago.
It's definitely concerning, but we were just hoping that it was a glitch and a one-off. This fight between Rob, David, and Chris, being David, seeing a car disappear like that in front of you is one of the most scariest things you can have can happen to you, because when you see the car disappearing and you keep on driving, there are situations where you suddenly are in the car and they get launched. I mean, it's all weird stuff going on when iRacing loses you on track.
Yeah, it's very disconcerting for sure. But these two have been going at it almost the whole race. You certainly wouldn't know it's currently over 13th and 14th the way they're fighting, but great battle between Steven and Rob. As I mentioned, right now for 13th position, and Steven's just gotten that position back. Now Jeff Saunders, who, as you mentioned, didn't set a qualifying lap, looking to get by Rob as well.
We're also approaching the mark where I think that we might have gotten the white flag or maybe one extra lap. It's always so hard to see in iRacing, but I don't see Bonnie ripping his shoulder out. He's not dislocating it, so we got 2 more laps, and then we'll probably very probably see Michael Harley-Davidson coming in as first position. But we still see Eric Blix putting on a lot of pressure on Daniel Solo. He is trying to get that 9th position and trying to salvage for the incident he had, pressuring him all the way. He's going on the left on the curb. He's taking all the risk he can. You see Daniel's a little bit wide there, and Eric is really flowing, but the native, the corner, the way it is, you have to be on the inside. Daniel's putting it to the left, going through Church, who has the bigger corners. You see Eric having a really good line, a sweeping move there, trying to get out to his rear, maybe pull one on the inside. Don't see any defending move here by Daniel just yet. Is he able to brake as late as he can, or is he gonna make a small mistake? You see Eric trying to straighten up the car, but I think that Daniel has the defense down and dusted. That is a really good one, and we'll still see one more lap here. Is Eric capable and able to get past him? We'll find out in just 1 minute.
And these two are teammates, so you would think, especially with Eric in title contention, that Daniel would be a little more amenable, but also it does seem like Eric is pretty intent not to take out his teammate, especially since these are the two the front row spots for the reverse grid race. So maybe thinking those points aren't worth it for taking a risky move on Daniel, but it's certainly been a good battle. We've also got a battle for 4th place with David Burns. He's going to have a look into the last corner, I'm sure, putting the pressure on Rob Woodhouse.
So David Burns on the outside here of Rob Woodhouse, but he's holding down the inside, trying to get past him in the last corner, the last sequence. We missed the finish of Michael Harley-Davidson, but that doesn't matter because he had a really good shouting for him. Now David Burns just stays behind Rob. This is the last fight. This is Eric against Daniel. We'll see Stephen Walker closing in on them, suddenly out of the blue, out of nowhere. So he might be in of a good... That almost looked like they were holding back. Okay, well, a very, very interesting race, and I think that we're gonna be in for a really good one for the feature race, especially looking at the pace that Simon Trendle, Kenzie Nuna, and Michael was showing. They are gonna cut through the field like a knife through soft butter, and I'm curious if there's any pit stop shenanigans going on after that.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. I have to imagine it's a pretty short pit lane here, so
It definitely is. Yeah.
We'll see. You know, a short pit lane and quick pit stops could make for some very interesting strategy.
It's definitely an interesting pit stop. It's a bit similar like going down to the pit lane, like on the Red Bull Ring. You're on the line, so you have to announce that you're going in. Okay. So, looking at the standings, at the results of the sprint race, Michael Harley-Davidson with a commanding victory on first position. Simon Trendle got his ears washed by him, but still salvaging what he needed to do for the championship on second. Kenzie Nieuwenhof passed, I think, Bob Woodhouse because of Eric Blix or Bob Woodhouse, I can't remember, because of a slowdown one of either had. Bob Woodhouse coming in fourth. David J. Burns pressuring Bob the whole race, coming in fifth. Chris Shaw right behind them on sixth. Jamie Wilson ended up seventh, and Fitz Solomon on eighth. On ninth was Daniel Solo, and Eric Blix, his teammate, was right behind him on 10th. Stephen Walker suddenly came back to life the last lap. He was getting close to Eric, and Daniel started 8th, had a stinker in the first lap, but recovered quite good. And Tony Klusterman on 12th position. So that is Stephen Phillips coming in on 13th, and Rob Fan on 14th. Job Sanders 15th, and on 16th was Vincent Skillback. Anthony Woodward ended up 17th after an incident with Vincent, where he misjudged his brake marker, or at least locked up. So they have some counseling to do with each other. I think this is the time to tell my great joke about Thruxton. And as context, Thruxton, for all the non-British people, used to be an airport. And even, I mean, this joke even made Tyler giggle. He actually said, and I'm quoting here, "This is one of your better jokes." And it's not racist, so that helps as well. Thruxton is so fast, even the pit lane needs a parachute. I mean, I'm proud of this one. I really like it. So if you would rate that, Tyler, would it be a 7, 8, or 9?
Oh, I just said it was better than your usual, so I'd still put it at like a 4 or 5, but no, it's a good one.
I think that we had a really good race at the first one. What would you do if you were in Eric Blick's position, starting at pole position? Would you just go all out, or would you think about managing your tires and fuel?
You go all out. There's no if you've got clean air in this car, you run away as fast as you can. And Eric's definitely got the pace to do that, especially with the cars starting around him. I think he'll be more than capable of pulling a gap, because, you know, if you kill the tires, so what? You know, you get everyone's got to make a pit stop, right? And the tires are covered by the fuel. So we'll have to wait and see. I think the most interesting thing to watch will be how Michael Harley-Davidson works his way through the field. And I see he's in the chat ranking your joke 2 out of 10. Maybe I was a bit generous, but
no, it doesn't matter. He's going to get a penalty anyway. So.
Well, I do want to apologize to Michael that we missed him crossing the line in race 1, but that's what happens when you're so far out in front that I don't realize the race is ending. So
it's like Max Verstappen. He has to deal with it.
Yeah, if he wants better coverage, he should think about having a closer finish.
Well, he did put down a really good result. He passed Simon clean and completely clean on the last chicane on the inside, where Simon had a slight brake moment, let's call it that. Well, a complete clean move, and had a stinker of a start. Well, not a stinker, but it looked like on the second phase, Simon just was able to put down a little bit more throttle. Yeah, so I honestly think that looking at the way Simon drives and the way how commanding the lead of Michael was, I do think that Simon, in the back of his mind, is going to be happy to get a second or third position result on the feature race.
Well, the best news for Simon is that Eric finished 10th. I mean, that's, you know, it's not fun to finish second and, you know, see the leader just pulling miles away from you, but as far as the big picture is concerned, that was a great result for Simon. So, yeah, hard for him to complain. We've got Tony out here doing laps, which is a bit unusual. Usually, we just see people doing pit practice in this warm-up session. Well, that was a question that Sam posed to me last round, but I will pass it on to you. What do you do in the warm-up session?
Take a dump.
Yeah, I think it was about a 50-50 split between people who would take a pit stop and people who do pit practice. So.
No, I mean, in all honesty, because you sweat so much, I don't really have to. Like, especially on a circuit like Thruxton, you don't have to get a break. It's just turn after turn after turn, and it keeps on coming. It's one of those tracks where it's like Okoyama, you know, you have to keep fighting the car, you have to keep hustling the car. There's a turn on every 4 seconds. There's something to do. I think a bit like another British track, but it's coming to me later on.
Like
but,
Sandown.
No, not Sandown. No, I don't mean Sandown. Sandown is quite easy, to be honest, because you have the back straight.
You do have the back straight. That's true.
Yeah. Brands Hatch Indy, the Indy version of Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
You just have to keep on turning and turning, and you're still busy. So usually, I do tend to sweat a little bit when driving, so I don't have to go to the toilet. And then after 2 minutes of being in no one's land and just complaining about my result and complaining about the tires and the car, suddenly I get the realization that I still didn't practice the pit lane. I'm like, oh, I might need to do that. And I definitely don't want to do a fast lap because it can only be shit, to be honest. Like the way I think it, my train of thought here is, if you do a lap and it's shit, you're like, oh well, okay, so I don't have to pace anymore. But the conditions change quite a lot. But if it's really good, you're like, oh, I'm gonna nail it. But for me personally, because I tend to be at the front end of the grid. And then you suddenly are in the train of the cars because you have the reverse grid, and then you're so much slower, and it just makes me depressed, I think. So I just do the pit entrance. That's basically where I was going with this point.
Okay, that was a weird one there for Rob Venn. I'm not sure. Just seemed to pull off the side of the. It looks like he's doing a drag run on the airstrip here.
Maybe he's doing
a practice start.
This looks like a practice start, but you have to be careful with those. I mean, sometimes you just suddenly get a black flag.
Yeah. No, what I do in the warm-up sessions is, you know, 3 or 4 pit practices, depending how long the track is, and then a practice start if I had a bad one in the first race, just for my morale more than anything, because I know how to start, you know. I know how to start one of these cars, but you just want to remind yourself that you can do a good start if you've had a bad one.
Yeah, I do agree with that. A while back they changed something with starting the TCR cars, and I suddenly couldn't start anymore. I did the same thing for over 2 or 3 years, and suddenly there was no patch note or anything, but it suddenly starting to spin up the tires. And it completely put me off, and then I found a way to do it properly again, but it messed with my head because like the muscle memory was not there, so I just kept messing up. So I did like 7 practice starts and I would still mess up on the starting grid, but I now finally found a way to do it. But it's just trying to get back into the zone and into the groove, because for me personally, a feature race compared to a sprint race feels longer than a feature race. If that makes any sense.
It doesn't. Expand.
Okay, so let me expand. In a sprint race, it's all out. You're trying to fight for every meter you can get, every tenth of a second you can win. Where in a feature race, like an endurance race, you just get into a flow, and sometimes you just switch off. I had endurance races and feature races where suddenly I was at the, for example, on not Indianapolis again, Daytona. I was doing a stint of 4 hours, and suddenly it was 3.5 hours in. I couldn't remember what I did. And it's the same with the feature race. I just shut off a little bit.
Yeah, that does make sense.
In the sprint race, in the sprint race, you just tend to be in the moment and try to take everything. Okay, so we are going back to the new grid, the reversed grid, the feature race grid, and I am looking forward to this one. So we are currently, this is the grid. So Eric Blix is starting from pole position, second in the championship, and has something to prove on this second run. Daniel Solo starting from second, and Fit Salomon on third. Fourth is Jamie Wilson, who had a couple of battles in the sprint race, but came out on seventh position and now starting fourth. Chris Shaw starting fifth, and David J. Burns is starting sixth. Bob Woodhouse starting from the seventh position, and eighth is Kenzie Newhoff. Simon Trendo ninth, and right behind him, our previous winner from the sprint race, Michael Harley-Davidson, who had a really, really good shouting and really good pace. Stephen Walker 11th, and 12th is our beloved Tony Klosterman. On 13th, it's Stephen Phillips and Rob Fenn right behind him. On 14th, Job Sanders is 15th, and Vincent Skilbeck 16th. Anthony Woodward is 17th, and that is rounding up our grid. They are going to be in for a good one, but because even in a feature race, this track doesn't lend you any rest. If you would drive on Spa, you would just chill out, take a breather, had a moment, but there's the back straight and the straight via going up Radouillon, where you can just chill out. But on Thruxton, it's all out every time, every lap, every corner, and every position counts, and every millisecond counts. They are gonna be in for a fight that is gonna define the championship. 2 minutes ticking over. That means that they are gonna get ready for the race, the feature race, the big points. But well, we changed the points, but lights are turning up. Waiting for all the lights.
Green.
The fifth light is on. It's green. The cars are pulling away, and it's a really good start. But Fitz Solomon all the way in the back. We see Vincent Skilback getting past, but it's Michael Harley-Davidson having an enormous stinker all the way at the rear. He's gonna have his work cut out for him. At the front, it's Eric Blitz taking the lead. Jamie Wilson is already in second. Too wide here, coming into Campo. It's Stephen Walker on the inside, trying to not hit the curb too hard, cutting back right in front of Stephen Phillips. They had some history in the previous sprint race. It's still too wide here. Jamie Wilson, Simon Trendle right next to Kenzie. They also have history fighting for championships here, there, and previous seasons. It all seems quite good, besides that enormous battle from Michael Harley-Davidson, and I am curious what happened there. Starting 10th, ending up 16th. That something went completely wrong on his starting procedure.
Yeah, it was a rough start for any Alcantech drivers not named Eric Blix. We saw Michael Halfredson didn't get off the line, and then Daniel Solo seemed to go wide. I don't know if he had help. We'll take a look at that one once things settle down, which may be a few minutes here as we got battles all up and down through the field.
The whole field being in touch with about last 4 or 5 seconds, and we see Jeff Sanders is getting already got shuffled back by Vincent Skilback. Eric Blitz is already taking a second It's already a second clear from Jamie Wilson. And right behind Jamie Wilson, Chris Shaw putting on pressure. It looks like nobody caught any penalties going through the chicane at the first corner, which is a lovely sight to see because we saw so many slowdowns in the feature and the sprint race.
Yeah, it's a good, nice to have a bit of a cleaner start this time.
Oh, this was Jamie Wilson going a little bit wide, and Chris Shaw taking advantage of that. But is Jamie able to cut back here because he is taking a wider line? Is he getting enough speed to pull the car alongside of Chris? Chris is taking a defensive line. Jamie's going on the outside, braking super late, trying to go into, and Chris leaves the room. Jamie leaves the room. Amazing racing. Great to see, and you see the harmonica effect behind that because David J. Burns instantly took advantage of that. Now looking almost on the inside here of Chris Shaw, but I mean, it was Fitz-Solomon. Did I say Fitz-Solomon? I can't remember.
Well, what a move by Jamie Wilson, sending it around the outside. That was I mean, you know, Jamie and Chris, you'll struggle to find two cleaner racers, and it showed. I mean, they're just putting on an absolute show. Is everybody here in this pack, and it's good to see everyone seems to have learned their manners a bit better since Detroit.
That's definitely there's always a race in a season where things don't really click, and Detroit, I haven't watched it, but I got the summary from you, and it's good to see that everybody got back on their feet.
Yeah, now we've well, let's see how the see how the last chicane plays out here, and then let's have a look back at the start, specifically what happened to Daniel Solo there. Ooh, that was Chris Shaw going through the chicane. It's not showing a slowdown. I wonder if he was so far wide that it didn't register, but that was...
And it almost put Simon Trendle, I think he actually tapped David Burns because of the Constantina effect that it caused. There's so many cars here, it's just nowhere. Look at that line. That is amazing. And Eric Blix is out there, 3.5 seconds clear of Jamie Wilson. He's loving life currently.
Yeah, you were asking about strategy. I don't think Eric regrets not sitting back and saving some tires in front of this this group.
Could be situational because for me, I personally, I would always save a little bit of fuel, and knowing you probably will as well. But you're looking in your mirror. You're starting first, or second in this situation. You're getting a clean start. You get to the first position. You start looking in the mirror, and you see the fight, and then you're like, oh well, now I got to put the hammer down. It changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different mindset, but I think it's just a case of, you know, you drive at 98% instead of 100%, right? It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a big changes. Ooh, Simon did get around David Burns there as well behind these two, but this is going to be a tougher task getting by. You know, we thought about making it 3 wide there, but I don't think that's a great idea.
Making it 3 wide there on the inside, you only lose out to the car behind because there's no exit speed. But there, now he was having a good run. Is he able to get both of them? That is amazing anticipation from him.
Yeah, this has been some of the best racing we've seen all season, and I mean,
look,
these drivers always put on a show, but what phenomenal car control by every single car in this picture. I mean, just really, really good racing.
And you can I mean, even if you're blind, you just hear my instinctive noises, how close it was. Well, Simon got through very cleanly there, and he got both of them because they were very busy with each other, and he just got away with it. Oh, this is a little bit of bumping, and now I think somebody's gonna get the slowdown. No, they got away with it. No, it's Rob Woodhouse getting the slowdown. Also, Stephen Phillips getting the slowdown right behind him. this pack is still so super close, but you can tell that Simon has more pace than all of them combined. He's already pulling away. He's about a second clear from Chris Shaw, so he would be very happy. His result is going to be amazingly good for his championship if he keeps this pace up. Probably gets to Jamie Wilson, and usually the Team Camaro boys don't have any team orders, but then again, maybe they will. Just because the Jamie is also in clear air.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a case of, you know, there may not be team orders, but Jamie's not going to put up too much of a fight, I don't think. I hate to duck away for even a second, but...
Oh, Steven Phillips is going, I think he's going to hit the wall. Oh no, he made it.
He made it survive. That was a wild moment there. As further up, we've got the recovering Daniel Solo, and I do want to take a look back at the start. Yeah, he's going to get the run on Ant here. All right, let's see what happened to Daniel at the start.
So looking back here at the start, we're focusing on Daniel to see what happened. Seemed to get away quite cleanly, but I think he got shoved a little bit. I don't think that he realized that there was a car there.
Yeah, I think Vit really moved over pretty aggressively. Didn't seem to realize that Daniel was there, but he was.
But there was still a bunch of room on the side of Daniel as well, so he could.
Oh, sure, but I don't. Well. I feel like you wouldn't expect a car to be coming over like that, and now he's got damage.
He's scrapping.
It looks like he had an incident with Tony. Let's see if we can capture that.
So we're trying to find out what happened with Daniel Solo. This is Tony getting spun, and then, oh, yeah, that's a broke-ass car.
Yeah, I don't know what Tony was thinking there, getting on the gas, because it spun him right back into traffic and directly in front of Simon. And yeah,
I do think that he realized that he was in a bad position and tried to get out of it the best he could. Maybe not the best choice, but instinctively hit the throttle to get out of it, I think.
Yeah, so he tried to... He didn't even try and send it on Rob Venn. He just carried too much speed in. And, yeah.
But it was, even if he would put on the brakes, it wouldn't have mattered because he was already in the middle of the track.
I don't know. I think he was kind of being carried away there. I think that was a bit silly from Tony, if I'm being honest. I'm not too sure what he was thinking there, but it is what it is. And now he and Daniel are at the back of the pack. It did split up our battle group a little bit, but we've still got some racing going on all through the field.
We definitely have the racing is still on. The cars here, left, right, and center, still fighting over each other. You can see, take a look at the timing tower, and you can see that. Oh well, Michael Harley Davidson just picked up a slowdown. I was just about to mention that he caught back up on the rear of Rob Fan, but is now having to move back a little bit and serve that slowdown. Also, and Woodward serving a slowdown, and you can tell that. They should be happy that it's a slowdown and not an incident point if you hit it, because if that would have been an incident point as well, it would have meant that you would get over that 50 nicks quite quickly.
Yep. Yeah, it's tough, and tough for Michael Haflitzen, and he's just now getting back to where he started this race, and you really have to wonder with his pace in race number one where he would be if he had got off the line.
It's a situation where you could say it could have been. This is Simon Trendle sending it late on Jamie Wilson, but also it wasn't a team order, but you could definitely tell that once Jamie realized that he was coming, he was not really willing to fight for that position. Simon being in a really good position here, coming in second on the sprint race now, already driving second after 10 laps. Well, 10 laps already. It's just 11 minutes in, but well, just after 10 laps, already got back to second position for his championship. This is going to turn out as a lovely evening.
Yeah, and make a note of that gap now. 5.7 seconds, the gap from Eric Blix to Simon Trendle. I expect we will see that start to wind down as this race continues on. But we've got a battle for third now. Kenzie sending it in on Jamie. Jamie not making it too terribly difficult there. Tries to hold it around the outside, but I think Kenzie's going to have the spot here.
Trying to do the cutback, maybe trying to get under his rear wing and get into that slipstream and maybe make a move. You see Kenzie still holding it wide. I think Jamie thought about it, but he's still realizing that it's not his battle, and he's probably just going to lose. Oh, that's a moment, and it might be a slowdown. He got away with it.
Just barely.
Oh, I mean, Kenzie should thank the iRacing gods right there.
Yeah, that's about as close to the limit as you can get. But he got away with it. He'll keep after Simon. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Chris Shaw in 5th and David Burns in 6th. Just trying to move their way forward. They're in those spots where when you finish kind of in the middle of the top 10 in race 1 and you start there in race 2, you're kind of where you're meant to be. It can sometimes feel like, and Chris has definitely shown quite a bit of pace, as has David, not just this week but all season. So wouldn't be surprised to see them move forward a little bit here, but at the moment they're both sitting right where they started in 5th and 6th here.
Now that we are at a little bit of a stalemate situation here, I do want to give behind, like after this replay. So this is Eric Blix, I guess?
No, this is Michael Harley Davidson here.
Oh! Jeez, that's an expensive lawnmower.
Yeah.
He also has damage on the left front, right front.
Oh, he's got damage on both sides of the front, it looks like, and he's not having a fun race 2 here.
He's definitely not. As I was about to mention, because it settled down a little bit, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, SimAbility. SimAbility, who has been a long time supporter of our BSTV league. SimAbility's mission is pretty simple. It's making sim racing accessible for anyone. From custom pedal modifications for Fanatec Thrustmasters. They do their own adaptive racing solutions, and SimAbility is at the forefront of making our sporting, our e-sporting inclusive. It's not just about gear, it's also being part of a community and trying to help everyone who's less fortunate between us but still wants to do the racing and get involved right there. Again, sometimes I forget to mention it, but it definitely play a big part in the success we had over the V8s of the past years.
So something happened to Stephen Phillips, because it said he entered the pit lane and then it said he jumped to the pit lane. So I'm wondering if he maybe caught the pit wall on entry.
It looks quite normal. Oh, I think. Ooh. You see where that stall is? That stall is like right behind that barrier. That's why you got in.
Yeah,
maybe thought that, yeah.
Didn't want to reverse too far and get disqualified, perhaps. But, yeah, that's interesting. Ant Woodward has also left the session.
So we had an apology from Tony Klosterman in chat where he mentioned that he said, apology for my incident. I'm not sure why I lost the rear end. So realizing that something went awry and didn't completely go as planned. I think that is sportsmanship at its top, realizing you made a mistake and apologizing for it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect anything different from Tony. He's a true sportsman and just made a mistake, as we all do. So good good to see that apology, and I'm sure Tony will be back and speedy again next time out.
Simon really cutting down that deficit he had on Eric Blix. When you mentioned it was 5.5 seconds, it's now currently down to 3.7, 3.6 actually. And it's gonna get cut down even harder, I think, because it looks like Simon has way more pace in the back than Eric currently has.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch, especially with pit stops, because Simon's a wizard at figuring out exactly how much fuel he needs down to the milliliter. And he'll not spend any time more in pit lane than he needs to. So Eric will have to be on his game when the pit stops happen, and we are starting to see some representative pit stops. We've had Michael Harley-Davidson, Jeff Saunders, Daniel Solo all in, and now we've got Simon heading into the pit lane here, and this will be telling. So we've seen stop times around 15-16 seconds for those drivers who have already been in, and it's a 16:05 in the box for Simon as he nearly collides with Rob Venn there.
I am definitely advocating for this still. I want the cars stop being ghost cars in the pit. I do want those situations, you know.
Yeah,
or at least a leak, so you can just tick it off, you know.
Yeah, I certainly see your point. And as we jump back to live, Jamie doing a good job here of giving Simon a nice gap for when these pit stops cycle through. It's interesting, you know, we often see Simon in first out of the pit stoppers. So it's not unusual there. What is a little bit surprising is that I kind of would have thought he would get wait till he was a little closer to Eric, because then you can kind of control you basically can control Eric's strategy. If you are within a second or two and you come to the pits, Eric has pretty much no choice but to pit the lap after, because the undercut can be so powerful. But with how it was now with Simon coming in, Eric can ride this out probably for another 3 or 4 laps and see, still probably come out in front of Simon with fresher tires. As we've got a really good battle here. Oh, Jamie slipping sideways and letting Chris Shaw get to the inside. That's going to be a change of position here finally, I think, unless Jamie sends it around the outside again, heading on to
you
the
could
back
definitely
straight.
tell that Jamie was on the dirt right there. He was on the marbles. His car started sliding left, right, and center. But now Jamie's coming back at Chris Shaw. They're going in side by side towards the last chicane and trying to make it too wide here. 2 into 1 doesn't go here. And now it's Chris cutting back, trying to get a better exit. But I think that Jamie somehow managed to sell. But he's now turning to the pit, realizing that this is not his fight anymore, or either he had to anyway. Making this point to he entered the pit. I need to enter the pit as well, so I'll be away and stepping away for a second.
And we do have our race leader in the pit lane, Eric Blix, as he gets going. Where is he going to come out relative to Simon Trendle? Simon's coming around just the first corner now. You can see Eric there exiting the pits. Now, cold tires definitely more of a factor in these Gen 3 cars than they were in Gen 2. Oh, as Eric parks it on the apex, that's a great move there to stop the possible attack from Simon while he works his tires up to temperature. He's just got to hold on for a couple more corners, but you get the feeling that Simon's got a head of steam coming here. And that right there is the difference between warm tires and cold tires. Simon with a couple laps to get things up to temperature just easily clears Eric, but now ran a little wide there onto the back straight, and Eric's going to have a look into the chicane. I think he's going to get this done. And indeed he does. So the battle on for the presumptive race lead, unless Kenzie can really gain some ground doing the overcut here. So we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Now, some trouble for Simon here. If we look at those last lap times we've got up on the screen now, Simon last time around, because he was fighting with Eric, did a 15.2, where Kenzie did a 14.2. Kenzie was, I want to say, about a second and a half back from Simon when Simon came into the pits. So I think we have a 3-car battle for the lead here. I don't think Kenzie's out of this one at all, and we've seen the overcut strategy work in the past.
So I made my pit stop, and well, so I said I was going to the pit stop, Tyler.
Oh well, I missed it. So.
Oh well, yeah, I mean, so we have obviously the super secret duper channel where we talk about stuff, and Tyler mentioned, "Are you still there?" But I needed a pit stop, man. That's what I said when Chris went in. I need a pit stop.
Well, you've fit in well in the pit stop sequence here. So
sorry about that.
We've got, I think, the last vestiges of cars heading for the pit lane, though still not Kenzie yet. He's really taken this to the end of the pit window. But we do have Jamie Wilson and Bob Woodhouse heading for the pits now. And will be interesting to see where they come out relative to this battle, as we saw Chris and Jamie battling hard before Chris dove for the pit lane.
It's a little bit of a game of parking the apex once you get in on the inside of the chicane. The faster line is definitely the outside, so you sacrifice the entry of the first little bit of the chicane and just try to park it and slow down the car that is actually taking the preferable line, which instantly gives you the defense you need.
Yep, and it does look like Jamie lost out in the pit stop sequence here. He's behind Chris Shaw-Fitz-Salomon and Stephen Walker, who were all behind when the pit stop sequence started. So tough break for Jamie there, but he'll still cycle out well into the top 10, as we do have Kenzie now in the pit lane. So we'll keep an eye on Eric to see where Kenzie blends back out.
You can see the latest of the stoppers trying to do something different to get an advantage on tires later on in the stint. Curious to see how that is going to pan out for him. Now coming out right behind Simon Trendle, who has come in quite a bit earlier than Kenzie did. So I'll be honest, if I would have been a bookie right now, I would have said that Kenzie would have probably been the best bet, looking at the current situation.
I would agree with you, actually, and I think, as I mentioned, when the pit sequence started, if I were in Simon's shoes, I would have waited till I was a little bit closer to Eric before coming in, and it definitely seems to have cost him, because he allowed Eric to still exit the pits in front of him on fresher tires, and it means that he hasn't been able to take advantage of this undercut, because he spent a couple of his best tire laps fighting with Eric, and now he's going to be at risk of falling to Kenzie here for sure by the end of this race.
And also a fact that has been overlooked quite a lot is that if you pit a little bit earlier in these cars, you do tend to you throw on new tires. There's a black flag, by the way, for Michael Harley Davidson on screen. I think that's a drive of shame. It's probably because of an exceeding 15x on the incident limit. He's lucky that the pit lane isn't that long, but it's definitely one to forget compared to his sprint race.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
interesting. I'm not showing as many incidents, but the tracker we have is often not totally reliable. So, but it's certain he was the first one of the first drivers to do a scheduled stop. So it definitely wouldn't have been pit entry or something like that. It must have been, as you said, drive of shame from hitting the 15-point incident limit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it happens. We've all been there. It just sucks. Let's be honest. Coming back to that point I was making, getting in early, changing your tires, but also because your fuel tank is a little bit more fuller than all the cars that are pitting later, you do tend to stress out the tires a little bit more as well. And I know that we all have our opinions about iRacing and its tires. And we all want to do it as realistic as possible, but I tested this a couple of times in TCRs and also in GT3s. There's definitely a difference in how the tires wear on a full tank. Oh, that is a slight touch there, and now it's all popping off with Stephen Walker spinning out, Fit Salomon, and almost collecting not Michael Harley Davidson, almost collecting Rob Puthouse and Jamie Wilson with it.
Yeah, that was interesting. Let's take a look at that one again. They were fighting over 6th position here.
So Steven's quite late on the brakes, but I think the fit went a little bit more wider than came back across. Oh, that nose from Rob Woodhouse. He's lucky it's still on.
Yeah, that was a strange one because they were pretty far through the corner. It almost seemed to be on exit that we saw the contact. Oh yeah, Steven
so
just.
Yeah.
And how many times have we already seen that today of somebody sticking the nose in when they'd really be better off just settling in behind. So it does look like Steven's redressed that position to Vit.
Yeah, and knowing Steven, it was definitely not on purpose, and he's not the kind of driver that usually does those kind of moves. So I think he just got put on the back foot somehow by, well, not how slow Fit was going, but at least he didn't expect it the way it happened. Meanwhile, I was talking, again, Michael Harley Davidson had a slowdown. So he keeps on racking up all those slowdowns. That must be super frustrating for him.
Yeah, especially after such a commanding race one. You know you're quick, and it's just not showing in here in race number 2. But yeah, we do like to see, you know, something like that where Steven knows it was his mistake, just poking the nose in, and we do like to see drivers redressing those positions. So good there, and he's gonna have another go at him here, which is fun. We'll see how aggressive he is. He clearly is not worried about having some more contact as he bailed out of that one, but still right up on the bumper of it here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, readdressing the position, that makes our life and a couple of other guys that are in the background for stewarding afterwards for penalties. If they get a protest a lot easier, because readdressing the position on my book is enough to never give in to a protest. It's just acknowledging that a mistake has been made and it's been rectified. One other thing I do want to mention, I already gave a shout out to our SimAbility sponsor, a very long sponsor from the channel. But we also obviously stream on YouTube, and we have currently, I think it was 17 or 18 people watching at a certain point. It dropped down a little bit, but If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, and also get involved into the chat. It helped massively with the algorithm. And also because if we get more viewers, we get more comments, we get more likes, we get more money. No, we don't get any money, but we get more exposure, and we get more races. So if you haven't, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and definitely give us that thumbs up and get involved into the chat if you can and will.
So we missed Kenzie getting by Simon and all the chaos with Steven and Vit. Pretty calm there, but I think it definitely illustrated what we were talking about at the top of the show with how you can have two equally fast drivers with very different driving styles. As you saw Kenzie stepping the back end out as he closed the door on Simon there. That's just the way he does it.
It's just the Dutch way of driving, stepping your back end out and being aggressive as you possibly can.
And Simon will be hoping for these two to come together, I'm sure, because that's he can see the top two fading away. Obviously, always nice to get a podium, and he's definitely going to come away from this with the most points out of these three. But yeah, he'll be hoping for some carnage here.
So currently Eric Blick still leading, and Kenzie Newnoff putting on a lot of pressure. He's almost pushing him through the corner through the first chicane, coming up to Campbell, and then maybe trying to make a move towards Church to get a better exit and get down on the last chicane at the back end. Simon currently in third position, also leading the championship, and fourth David Burns, and fifth Chris Shaw, who is also having a really good stable race as he came in I think sixth on the first race. Let me check that. He came in seventh on the first race. So he has a really good outing tonight as well. Jimmy Wilson, Rob Woodall, Stephen Walker, Fitz Salomon, Michael Holiday, and all cars, all drivers that have been performing pretty well. Although Michael is going to be very, very sour about this race, I bet.
Yeah, certainly tough. I mean, considering the issues he's had, including a drive-through penalty, to be in 10th is I think a bit illustrative of his pace here. He's been rapid. So yeah, not the race 2 we would have hoped for, but definitely still plenty competitive.
Kenzie is definitely taking advantage of those tires. He is getting so close. There must be brown sweat between Eric's butt cheeks. He is trying to hold him off and trying to claim this victory compared to where he was on the first race. Had an incident in turn 1. Didn't come off the line properly on the sprint 1. And now is leading the pack with Simon, his direct competitor, 2 positions behind him. So he needs this buffer from Kenzie behind them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tyler is still on the mic because I'm not hearing him in Discord. It doesn't really matter, but I hope he's still alive.
Check, check.
Yeah, you're back suddenly. Welcome back. The stream went on, but your mic cut out.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I was going to say Simon's been brought right back into this, and I doubt he's going to try anything here on Kenzie, but he's definitely going to pick up any pieces if it gets a little sketchy between these two for the lead.
You say that, but I think Simon had a small incident of some sort because he suddenly lost half a second. He was about 6 or 5/10 behind them, but now is 1.2 seconds. That is currently in the state of his tires. They are screaming to get out, taken off of the car, a massive gap.
Yeah, he's definitely seen, his tires have seen better days, but yeah, still not out of it for sure, and we'll have to see what happens between Eric and Kenzie.
Also, a rightful shout out for all the guys that fell out of the race tonight. I mean, Tony Klusterman, Stephen Phillips was already complaining about the fact that he hated this track in chat, and what they all are dropouts, or at least the cars that didn't make it on this fast and furious track that's called Thruxton.
And honestly, really solid drive here from Jamie Wilson, who's putting the pressure on Rob Woodhouse. He's not to disparage Jamie, but he for the last couple of seasons hasn't really had the pace at kind of the front of the field. I think he's just, you know, one of the many of us who are just busy with life, but Rob is no slouch, and Jamie's keeping the pressure on, and has been for, since Rob passed him several laps ago. So really solid showing from Jamie, and we've seen some excellent racing from him at the start of this one, holding off the pack in the first stint, and in race number 1 as well.
So Jamie has massively improved recently in TCRs as well, so I don't know what he is doing differently. But he used to be a 6th, 7th, 8th position car driver, where he's now often found near the top 3. Definitely on Bathurst, he gave me a run for his money, for my money, and it was really hard to get past him, and he really fought me tooth and nail. So I don't know, he somehow unlocked some extra pace recently, and it's good to see that he did, although I'm never gonna admit that I ever said that. So fuck you, Jamie.
Jumping back to the lead battle here, and it seems like Simon's tires have just gone off, because these two have really started to stretch the gap out. Now 2 seconds back from Kenzie to Simon.
Might be white flag lap when they cross the finish line. Let's see if
it's very close.
His shoulder. I couldn't see it, but I assume that is. So yeah, it is. So that's a weird wave by Barney. I've never seen that one before. Okay, David Burns is closing in on Simon Trender rapidly, while we are looking at the maybe final attempt on Kenzie. He's cutting back, he's cutting left. Eric getting a good exit, both having a little bit of a wiggle coming out of that corner, trying to survive for different reasons. And now Kenzie's trying to put it wide, but there's no room. He hit the grass. You can definitely tell he is trying every trick of the book. He's cutting back really hard, maybe getting a good exit, but are the tires strong enough for Eric to hold on? Is he able to deal with this pressure? Getting under brake, going through juts, hitting that curb, and it's Kenzie with a massive run. But he had to back down a little bit because Eric was basically holding him up. Now on the left-hand side, hurtling through towards the chicane. On the outside, on the inside, there is Eric. Kenzie trying to cut back, maybe getting him on the straight. That makes Simon back into the fight. Now it's Kenzie trying to do the last move, but it is Eric Blake getting over the finish line as the first race car driver of the feature race. Right behind him, Kenzie Newenhoff, and in third, Simon Trendle.
What a finish, man! That was intense. As soon as Kenzie, you mentioned it right as they got onto the back straight. Kenzie had to do just a tiny little lift to avoid hitting the back of Eric, and I think that's what did it in, because it meant Eric could cover off the inside for the final chicane. And wow, what a race!
What a race and what a finish! They really gave us a run for their own money. It was a really good sight to see, and we see Rob Fan coming in at 12th position for BSTV, and I think it's really good to see Rob is always out there and always participating where he can. He's been massively improving as well, so a shout out to him. And Daniel Soto, who comes in last, makes a spectacular finish. I love it when drivers They get involved into incidents, but still are able to finish the race, even if they're crabbing backwards.
Yeah, clearly not worried about the safe driver award, is Daniel.
No, so the safe driver award, it works in a way that if every car is finished, that the points don't get added on. But I think with him crossing the finish line, there's also like some lenience of 4 or 5 seconds if you still get into an incident, that it still counts even after the race. What is your biggest surprise for tonight, Tyler? What's your biggest surprise?
Maybe this is being a little unfair to our drivers, but after Detroit, it's how few incidents there were. It was a really, really phenomenal racing and really clean racing, which is just, it's been a hallmark of this series since its inception, but it's always just so much fun to see. These cars are not easy to drive, and it's really great to see people having just awesome races.
I couldn't agree more. Again, I haven't seen the Detroit race, but still, from your summary, it felt like it was a little bit of mayhem. It's good to see that the drivers recovered and put on a good show and a good good outing, where on a track, on a track like Thruxton, so many things can go wrong, and they still all went right most of the times. So we're looking at the feature result score. We had a really good race, and we had some pretty cool, unexpected actions, actually. Eric Blix coming in first with Kenzie Nieuwenhof right on his tail. Simon Trennell third, and David Burns was fourth. Fifth was Chris Shaw, and sixth was Bob Woodhouse. 7 was Jamie Wilson, and Michael Harley-Davidson had, compared to his commanding victory in the sprint, a quite surprising, still an 8th position, even with a drive of shame. Fitz Salomon 9th, and Stephen Walker rounding up that top 10 in 10th. Vincent Skillback 11th, and Rob Fan was 12th. Jeff Saunders was 13th, and Daniel Soto 14th. 15th was Anthony Woodward, and Stephen Phillips 16th. Tony Klusterman ended up 17th, but last 3 named, they all dropped out for different reasons. I think that we had a really, really good race tonight. It's been action-packed. It's been amazing to watch. It's been sportsmanship, like mistakes were made but readdressed. It's a bit of a V8 tradition. I mean, mistakes that got readdressed. Surprising victors. I mean, I didn't expect Michael Harley-Davidson to be the quickest tonight on the sprint race, but also no real super weird incidents. I could only say very good job to all the drivers tonight.
Yeah, it really, really impressive. Impressive evening. 2 good races. Obviously, the battle for the lead wasn't terribly exciting in race 1, but it certainly was made up for in race 2. Really phenomenal racing, and there was great racing throughout the field in race 1. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's bring in Michael Harley-Davidson. I'll move him myself. Welcome to the booth, Michael.
Yeah.
So I first wanted to say, I didn't give you the penalty, but you did that all by yourself. That's karma for you, right? No, I'm
can we talk about something else?
So which race do you want to talk about? The first one or the second one?
We can talk about the first one. I think that was pretty good.
Well, let's start with the first one. So, as I said to Tyler, I was quite surprised. I mean, I know you're quick, but I was surprised to see you beat Kenzie, to see you beat Eric, and also beat Simon, who's been a champion for several seasons in a row. Talk us through it, man. I mean, you seem to really click with the track.
The thing is, I am fast with the car, like on almost every track. It's just usually there's one good race and one bad race, except Phillips Island, which we had 2 bad races, and Detroit. But yeah, I like the combo. It's been flowing. I have a really good setup that I tweaked a bit. Works on short lungs, long runs, and everything. And I noticed during the SOF race on Thursday that people were struggling, so used that to my advantage. When I lost the start to Simon, just waited a few laps until I saw him starting to struggle with the tires, and then I could nip down the inside and walk away.
Yeah, so we have to talk about the starts because you first got pipped by Simon in the first race, and obviously it wasn't that bad because he was still right on his rear wing and rear bumper. But in the second race, what happened?
So the starts are probably my biggest weakness in this car. Like, they're average, but they're not amazing. But I completely fumbled the start in the second race. I accidentally thought I had let go of the handbrake, but I hadn't. So I just let go of the clutches and obviously didn't move anything.
Well, and then again, I don't want to discount how quick you were on the first race because that was an amazing performance. You did really good. It was almost Max Verstappen like. You just you got past. As you mentioned, Simon passed you, and you were just waiting for the moment that Simon's tires would fall off a little bit. Took advantage of that and drove away with I think 5.5 seconds or something, which is amazing in a 20-minute race. But it does feel like everything that could go wrong in the second race went wrong.
Very much so, and I truly hope I don't have that again. Like, bad start, got damaged straight away from a car, react blocking to me. I pitted way too early, so I didn't have any tires in the end. Obviously, the stop or the drive through for too many incident points, because I think I was like involved in 3 or 4 incidents. So like the incident points just racks up.
Wow, it was still besides the drive-through, you still came in 8th. That's nothing to be ashamed of. You put down an amazing performance. We all saw that you had amazing pace tonight. I can only congratulate you on the first race and a bit of a bummer on the second race. I do also think that I saw you playing Battlefield 6, so that you're a smart man. Congratulations on your result. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, want to thank, or maybe you want to read the Bible to, or whatever that is that you do?
Yeah, shout out to my squad mate Daniel Solo for playing with me always. Shout out to the whole team. I mean, we have fun together, and that's why we do it. And we absolutely love this car. And thanks to you guys for hosting every other week. It's amazing.
It's good to hear, Michael, and we hope to see you turn out to give that pace a ride for its money in the next maybe seasons, because we are all almost towards the end of the season. Good to having you, and congratulations on your first race again.
Thank you very much. Definitely coming back.
Oh, that has been great. Okay, cheers, man. I'll see you. This one is for you, and it's gonna be Eric Blix, Tyler.
All right, we got our race 2 winner, Eric Blixt, in the booth. How you doing, Eric?
Hi-yo, I'm doing good. Just got back from vacation, actually. So yeah, doing great.
Yeah, Wobbly mentioned that you might not be on the grid, but you made it.
I made it.
And you made it count.
Yeah.
Obviously, tough luck in race 1.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, the slowdown just messed me up. It was my own fault to get into all that mess.
yeah, it's you certainly weren't the only one who caught a slowdown in the last corner over the course of all of the races. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, talk us through how fine the margins are there, because we were saying, the quick guys are going to the edge of the track limits every time. Was it just a matter of you lost sight with the car in front of you, or did you just push it a little too hard?
I mean, first lap, but just not being able to see the corner, I think. in my mind, I took it easy, but it's one of those corners. Like you take it easy, then you go too slow, and then you cut the corner too tight.
Yeah, fair enough. But you made a nice recovery for sure. Got up to the reverse grid position. We were wondering if Daniel was going to let you through, given given your spot in the championship. Was there any talk about that, or was he instructed to fight?
No, I mean we have to go at it. Like if you get a gap, then take it. But it's nothing too obvious. Like no team orders like that.
Very good. Well, and then of course race number 2, you started up front, and you finished up front, but it certainly wasn't that easy through the whole race, was it?
No, I mean thankfully Hafley did the official race, so Kenzie played the open book and did the same strat as he did in official. So I knew like keep it tight in the SS because he's gonna go flying out on the straight.
Yeah, it was a really, really good battle between you and Kenzie. It seemed like the difference in tires was pretty substantial there, or was that just Kenzie having a little bit of pace on you at the end?
Yeah, I think like he got a lot of advantage in the beginning of the stint after the pit stop, but then towards the end we kind of evened out. I played it safe in the chicane just not to get a silly slowdown because it's easier to lose a second than just going a little bit slower. So, but then I think I fired off the tires one lap too early actually. I miscounted one lap, so I was kind of struggling on the last lap, but I knew what he was going for in the last corner there, so I think I covered it up pretty good. It was kind of messy, but yeah, I got it done.
I think it was pretty spot on. You backed him up heading onto the straight, and then cut down pretty clear. And he certainly could have sent it, but I think he tried to get the cutback. So
Yeah, but
really,
he had to serve a slowdown as well, so that's that's the thing. Like, I just had to hold him up for the slowdown, and then he couldn't gain an advantage from that.
yeah, it was great racing. It was good fun for us to watch. So yeah, that was great. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I guess the team were actually doing some work this week. I did no work at all. I showed up. So thank the team for all the data they got.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your race 2 win, and we'll see you next time out, Eric.
Thanks. See ya.
So, any preferences on who we do want to interview?
Oh, am I doing the next one too?
No, no. I mean, I can do the next one. Oh, this is Jamie. Jamie, good job. Bye. No, I'm kidding, man. Welcome to the booth, man.
Rare occasion you didn't get me mid-sentence as well.
No, I tried to, man. That's why I swiped you back and forth. Welcome to the booth. You seem to have a hunch for always being in the middle of every freaking battle there is.
That's my signature move. You know that.
I thought it was, oh no, I can't say this because people will ban the chat. So no, yeah, that's your signature move. How did you fly through the first race?
I've got to think back now. It was a while ago. There's so much that happened, especially in race 2.
You're getting old, man.
I am getting old. Yeah. I injured my back the other week. That's a sign of that.
It's definitely a sign of getting old.
Yeah. I can't remember what happened in race. Oh yeah, I had a good race at the start with Stephen behind me.
Yep.
He had a couple of goes. I managed to fend him off, and then I chased Vit down, which was quite good fun. This track is hard to drive in these cars, but it's extra hard to drive with like aero push and that, and when you're trying to put pressure on someone. But it's that much more rewarding as well. So I quite enjoyed that, the chase down. And I think he had a bit of a bad run through Church, if memory serves, and I got him going into the chicane, and then had to hold him off. Which is just as much of a challenge, really. And then that put me, I think, 4th on the grid for race 2. I think somewhere around there.
Yeah, you started 4th, yeah.
Yeah. And then race 2 was basically the Great Wall of Jamie for the first couple of laps.
Yeah, you
wave
seem
goodbye to
to.
Eric in the start
I,
there,
I don't.
and
I don't think that people were really happy with how that went
no,
on.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
it was
expect them to
completely
be.
clean. Don't get me wrong. It was good defending. It was good racing. It was good fun to see because we followed it for the first 3 or 4 laps, and you all were driving so close together. It definitely gave Eric a run for his money because he kept on driving away. But there was so many cars trying to overtake you, and I think that from our perspective, it was amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, my mirror was like a slot machine. Uh, but yeah, no, it was. I wasn't trying to be obtuse or anything. It was just a matter of someone's got to get a good enough run, and they did eventually. Um, and then Simon caught up to me, and I had a massive rear lockup into the complex, which is the only one I'd had actually. The one lap that he was about to get me, and the rear axle decides to lock up on me out of nowhere. I wasn't going to fight him super hard or anything because he's my teammate, and but it wasn't quite planned that way. He had to get a run to do it. And then after that, I stayed out a bit longer because I figured that the others would be fighting amongst themselves because they're all kind of in a group, which was partially true. And then I came out behind Vit and Stephen. They had a coming together at the complex, and I just didn't quite react in time to their own drama, so I ever so slightly tagged Stephen. And I stayed wide, like thinking he's going to save it, and then it just exits stage right on him, basically. Which is a shame because it was looking like it was going to be a 5-car battle to the end of the race. And then it was basically a repeat of the Vit situation with Bob at the end there.
Well, it looked really as an intense. I mean, we both you and I have driven this track a lot in TCR. I think 3 seasons in a row or something. And it's an amazing track to drive, and I can't imagine to drive a faster car than TCR around here because you just are so busy with every corner, every turn, and there's so many lines through the last corner. One last question I have about that is, did you have any trouble with avoiding the incident points or the slowdowns at the chicane, or did you caught one?
No, I got one slowdown, which was a legit, me being clumsy one, where I just outbraked myself a little bit, I think. And other than that, and the coming together with Stephen, I got a 0 to 4 on that because if it was part of his other instant. Other than that, I was 0 instants. It was no issues.
Oh, that's quite amazing. Seeing as how many battles you were in, I would have least expected a 4x.
There were a
Well,
few zeros in there. That's the art of it, just enough to brush the veneer off the top of the paint.
Yeah, and you got a big compliment from Tyler during the broadcast. It's only Tyler that gave you the
No, I don't
compliment,
believe
actually. Well, it's actually true because it seems that you have unlocked a little bit of more pace recently. And somebody might have mentioned that it happened in TCR as well. I don't know the guy because he's a freaking twat and he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it looks like you're a little bit more in control of the car and finding that little bit of extra tenth or two to keep up with the top 5. And it's amazing to see that even after all those years with your back getting hurt, getting 70 plus years on your counter, that you still have the pace in you, mate. Congratulations on your results, and I hope that we'll see you out there next time as well. When we are going to help me out here, it's an enduro event, I think. No, it's not. It's the 4th race. Which track is it again?
Good question.
It's
Wait, I got this.
It's Red Bull Ring.
It's Red Bull Ring. It's the same as TCR this week, I think.
Yeah, TCR next week is Red Bull Ring as well.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking forward to see you back on track. Is there anyone you want to thank? Maybe your teammate because you let him pass.
Yeah. Although I will shout him out because he is really quite ill at the moment.
Oh, really?
He has you'll know this because you've had this recently, but he had very extreme man flu.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So
it's the worst.
He sounds rough at the moment, and
He's
probably
trying
now
to sound
gone
rough.
for a lie down. So
I understand how he feels, so I sympathize with him.
Yeah, so this track is quite demanding, physically as well. You know, we've got pretty strong wheels and that kind of thing. My right thumb is aching big time just because having to steer the car right under load for ages around here. So yeah, he's done well to not just park it and go to sleep, basically.
Well, quotation marks say that it was the racing Jamie. Winky face. Sorry, friendly, child-friendly podcast. Sorry. Anyway, good having you.
And yeah, shout out to you guys as well, and everyone that shows up. It's good to have decent attendance still around here. And yeah, looking forward to next week. For 2 weeks time, rather.
2 weeks time. Yeah. We're looking forward to it as well. And I think that if I correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but I think that I am not going to be here for the next 2 races, so it's probably going to be Pete and Sam or something like that. Anyway, congratulations on your results, and keep up the good work, man. And thanks for everything you do behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, it's me and Sam next week, and Pete and Sam for the finale.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, because they Pete and Gary are coming over, and that's why we had to move it 1 week. So here is Vincent Skillback for you, Tyler.
Hello, Vince.
Remember that your mic is muted, Vince.
You there, Vince?
Is it?
There you are.
Yeah.
So have you considered like talking to any, I don't know, psychics or people who generally deal in luck and doing something about your V8ESC races?
No, I have not. Got away with one tonight. It was pretty good.
Yeah, just the incident in race 1, I guess, with remind me, was it Ant? I think, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Ant. He said sorry to me after the race again. Also, well, inside the race, but I said not to really worry about it because I was still serving a slowdown from the last corner, so I was a little bit slower through that corner and probably just caught him out. So I was like, it was partly my fault too. So
fair enough. Yeah, didn't have that info on our end, but yeah, that'll definitely play into it. But what'd you think of Thruxton this time around?
Yeah, it's a pretty decent track actually. Passing is a little bit harder to come by. You've really got to set your moves up multiple corners in advance. You've also got to have the speed, the overspeed to be able to do it. But yeah, it's a nice flowing track, lots of rhythm. These cars feel pretty decent. The setup I was running tonight was a little bit more understeery than my normal setups because I'm trying something different. Just because my Scops teammate for the Enduros has changed the setup a bit, and it's more to his liking. So I've been trying to get used to it. So, but yeah, no, it feels really, really decent around here. It looked like some people were having some good races.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any good battles there in race 1 or race 2?
Once I caught back up to people, it was sort of okay. I felt like I was on pace, but just with me being at the back and then having to avoid some stuff, took me a while to get back, and by the time I got back to the other guys, it was a bit too late to really do anything. But the kind of fights that I did have, yeah, they were pretty fun.
Good stuff. Well, we'll let you go have some breakfast, but is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we do?
Yeah, everyone that turns up every week. It's good to see that we're still getting a decent amount of cars, even though it's shortened season and we've only got like 2 races or something left. It's good to see that there's still people coming back. You guys for the broadcast and SimAbility for sponsoring again, and just sorry to Tony for passing the bad luck on to him.
All right. Well, thanks, Vince, and we'll see you next time out.
Catch you guys.
See you, man. Okay, well, so that one is done and dusted. Interviews are over. I think that Daniel Solo was also waiting for an interview, but somehow he left. Maybe it got too late for him. Don't feel obliged to be in the interview room, but we love to talk to you. So if you ever want to hop in after the race, we try to do every interview. At least we try to. Sometimes there's a situation where we can't, but you're more than welcome. What a race, Tyler, at Thruxton. After the chaos of Detroit, I think that we have seen a masterclass of control and bravery in the championship levelship composure for Simon and for Eric Blix. There's one more last thing we have to do, and I think that is one of the roughest things tonight we have to do, is that we have to think of the driver of the meeting. Do you want me to put you on the spot, or you want me to go first?
No, I've got mine. Got mine picked. As you said, it's tough to pick. There was a lot of really good drives tonight, so I'm just trying to narrow it down by they didn't win, and I haven't given them driver of the day yet this season, and it's actually gonna go to Kenzie because he somehow didn't win. No. He didn't win either of the races. No. But he drove really, really well and put on a really incredible show in race 2, particularly, but also in race 1, just with some really great battles. And it was good to see him show out and not win so that I can pick him for this.
I hate this because like I went for Kenzie as well. So I'll send in the votes, and the reason I went for Kenzie is because he seemed to be average on the sprint race, but then somehow pulled out a blinder in the feature race, where he really went for it and was able to drive a really strong pace on all the tires, which kept him within striking distance of Eric. I think that was an amazing going for him. And I'll definitely, I'll be sure to send this message to Pete and Sam, who are going to update the website for us with the votes. So that one is over. One more shout out to our SimAbility sponsor for being here the last couple of years, and definitely for supporting us in our ventures in the V8s. It's been lovely, it's been nice, it's been tight, it's been tough, and it's been really respectful driving. Mistakes were made, but they've also been readdressed where they needed to. I want to thank all the drivers. I want to thank everybody watching. And if you haven't already, and I'm going to repeat myself, subscribe to the channel and definitely give us a thumbs up and maybe even drop a comment if you can. We'll see you on the next one in 2 weeks' time on the Red Bull Ring. Also a sprint and a feature race. I'm going to leave you to the great Tyler Newitt, who did the cameras in an amazing job today, and he's really getting the hang of it. So give him compliments where you can. Up to you, Tyler, to say good night.
All right. See you, everybody. See you next time out. Have a good one.